Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unreal English. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. We're so happy you're here with us today.
On this channel, we help you learn natural, conversational English through real dialogues. If you're new here, welcome. We're so glad you found us.
And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your continued support. You're the reason we keep creating these videos.
Before we start today's conversation, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our new content.
And if you find this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It's a small action that makes a huge difference in helping us reach more English learners.
Absolutely. Today, we're going to talk about an incredibly important historical figure. We're discussing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This is such a meaningful topic because Dr. King's legacy continues to influence conversations about justice, equality, and civil rights around the world.
Exactly. And being able to discuss historical figures and social movements in English is important for deeper conversations and understanding American history and culture.
So just listen to how we discuss this topic naturally. You'll hear expressions for talking about history, legacy, social change, and important ideas.
So, Sarah, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the United States. It's a federal holiday honoring his life and legacy. What does this day mean to you?
It's such an important day. For me, it's not just a day off work. It's a day to reflect on how far we've come and how far we still need to go in terms of racial equality.
That's a thoughtful perspective. What do you know about Dr. King's life and work?
Well, he was a Baptist minister and civil rights activist who became the most visible leader of the American civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s.
Right. He's probably most famous for his I Have a Dream speech, isn't he?
Absolutely. That speech, delivered in 1963 during the March on Washington, is one of the most iconic speeches in American history.
Have you ever listened to the full speech?
I have, and it's incredibly powerful. Even though it was delivered over 60 years ago, so much of it still resonates today.
What parts stand out to you most?
The way he articulates his dream for his children, that they would be judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin, it's such a beautiful and simple vision of equality.
It really is, and the speech is full of powerful rhetoric and metaphors that make it so memorable.
Definitely. He was an extraordinary orator. His words moved people and inspired them to action.
What do you think made him such an effective leader?
I think several things. First, his commitment to nonviolent resistance. He was deeply influenced by Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of peaceful protest.
So he believed in creating change without violence.
Exactly. He understood that responding to violence with more violence would only perpetuate the cycle. Nonviolent resistance had moral authority that violence lacked.
That must have been incredibly difficult, especially facing violent opposition.
It was. Civil rights protesters were often beaten, arrested, and attacked, but Dr. King insisted they respond with dignity and nonviolence.
That takes tremendous courage and discipline.
It does, and it was strategically smart, too. The images of peaceful protesters being attacked by police shocked the nation and built support for the civil rights movement.
So nonviolence wasn't just morally right, it was also tactically effective.
Exactly. It exposed the brutality of segregation and racism in a way that couldn't be ignored.
What were some of the major achievements of the civil rights movement under his leadership?
Well, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a huge victory. It outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin.
What did that mean in practical terms?
It meant that segregation in public places became illegal. Black people could no longer be legally excluded from restaurants, hotels, theaters, or other public facilities.
So before that, businesses could legally refuse to serve black customers?
Yes, particularly in the South. There were whites-only signs on water fountains, bathrooms, and lunch counters. It's hard to believe now, but that was legal.
That's shocking. What other legislation resulted from the movement?
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 was another major achievement. It addressed the systematic disenfranchisement of black voters.
What does disenfranchisement mean?
It means being deprived of the right to vote. Even though black people technically had the right to vote, various tactics were used to prevent them from actually voting.
Like what kinds of tactics?
Literacy tests, poll taxes, intimidation, violence, these were designed to keep black people from exercising their constitutional right to vote.
That's terrible. How did the Voting Rights Act change that?
It banned literacy tests and gave the federal government the power to oversee voter registration in areas with histories of discrimination.
So it provided federal protection for voting rights?
Exactly. It was a landmark piece of legislation that dramatically increased black voter registration and participation.
Dr. King must have been proud of those achievements.
He was, but he also knew there was much more work to do. In his later years, he expanded his focus beyond racial justice.
What else did he work on?
He spoke out against poverty and economic inequality. He organized the Poor People's Campaign to address economic justice.
So he connected racial justice with economic justice.
Yes, he understood that true equality required not just legal rights, but also economic opportunity.
What about his stance on the Vietnam War?
That was controversial. In 1967, he gave a speech called Beyond Vietnam, where he strongly opposed the war.
Why was that controversial?
Many people thought he should stick to civil rights issues and not get involved in foreign policy. Some of his allies worried it would hurt the movement.
But he spoke out anyway?
He did. He felt morally obligated to speak against what he saw as an unjust war. He connected it to the civil rights struggle by pointing out that poor people and people of color were disproportionately serving and dying in Vietnam.
So he saw these issues as interconnected.
Exactly. He had a holistic vision of justice that encompassed racial equality, economic justice, and peace.
That's a really comprehensive approach to social change.
It was. He understood that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's one of his famous quotes.
That's profound. It means we're all connected and all forms of injustice are related?
Right. You can't have true justice if you're only fighting for one group or against one type of oppression.
Let's talk about his assassination. What happened?
He was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee. He was only 39 years old.
So young. What was he doing in Memphis?
He was there to support striking sanitation workers who were fighting for better pay and working conditions. It was part of his focus on economic justice.
And someone killed him there?
Yes. James Earl Ray was convicted of the assassination, though there are still some conspiracy theories about whether he acted alone.
How did people react to his death?
There was massive grief and anger. Riots broke out in over 100 cities across the United States.
That must have been a traumatic time for the nation.
It was, coming just a few years after President Kennedy's assassination and Malcolm X's assassination. It felt like the country was falling apart.
Did the civil rights movement continue after his death?
It did, though many say it lost its most charismatic and unifying leader. The movement became more fragmented, with different groups pursuing different strategies.
What do you think his most important legacy is?
That's a big question. I think his biggest contribution was showing that moral clarity and nonviolent resistance could create real, lasting change.
So he proved that you don't need violence to fight injustice.
Exactly. He demonstrated the power of peaceful protest, civil disobedience, and moral persuasion.
What's civil disobedience exactly?
It's the refusal to obey certain laws or government demands as a form of peaceful protest. For example, sitting at segregated lunch counters even though it was illegal.
So breaking unjust laws to highlight how unjust they are.
Right, and accepting the consequences, arrest and jail time, to show your commitment to the cause.
That's brave. What other aspects of his legacy are important?
His vision of the beloved community, a society based on justice, equal opportunity, and love. He believed that hate couldn't drive out hate, only love could do that.
That's beautiful. Was he influenced by his religious faith?
Very much so. As a Christian minister, his faith deeply informed his philosophy. He believed in the fundamental dignity of all people as children of God.
How do we remember him today? Beyond the holiday, I mean.
There are memorials and monuments, like the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington, D.C. Streets and schools are named after him across the country.
What about internationally? Is he recognized outside the United States?
Absolutely. He's seen as a global symbol of the struggle for human rights and dignity. His methods have influenced movements around the world.
Can you give examples?
The anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, various democracy movements, LGBTQ+ rights movements, many have drawn inspiration from his philosophy and tactics.
So his influence extends far beyond the specific context of American civil rights.
Definitely. The principles of nonviolent resistance and the fight for equality are universal.
Do you think his dream has been realized?
That's a complicated question. We've made tremendous progress since his time. Legal segregation is gone, voting rights are protected, and there's been significant social change.
But
Systemic racism still exists. There are still significant disparities in education, employment, healthcare, and the criminal justice system.
So the legal framework has changed, but inequality persists.
Exactly. Dr. King's dream of true equality hasn't been fully realized yet.
What do you think he would say about America today?
I think he'd acknowledge the progress, but also challenge us to do more. He'd probably say that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. That's another famous quote of his.
What does that mean exactly?
It means that progress isn't always immediate or obvious, but over time, justice tends to prevail. It's a message of hope and perseverance.
So don't give up even when change is slow.
Right. Keep working toward justice, even when it feels like you're not making progress.
That's an important message. What can people do today to honor his legacy?
The Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service encourages people to volunteer in their communities. It's meant to be a day on, not a day off.
So instead of just taking the day off, people should serve others.
Exactly. It reflects Dr. King's belief that everybody can be great because everybody can serve.
That's a wonderful philosophy. What else can people do?
Educate themselves about history and current issues, speak out against injustice, support organizations working for equality, and examine their own biases.
Personal reflection is part of it?
Definitely. Dr. King talked about the need for individuals to transform themselves as well as society.
What about having difficult conversations about race?
That's crucial. Dr. King said that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
So speaking up is important even when it's uncomfortable?
Exactly. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity.
That's powerful. What do you think is the most important lesson from Dr. King's life?
That one person with courage and conviction can make a tremendous difference. He didn't have political power or wealth, but he changed the course of history.
Through the power of his words and his moral leadership?
Yes, he showed that ideas and principles can be more powerful than weapons.
What about his critics? Did he have opposition even within the civil rights movement?
Absolutely. Some thought his nonviolent approach was too passive. Others thought he was too radical.
So he was criticized from both sides?
Yes. Malcolm X, for example, initially criticized his nonviolent philosophy as ineffective.
What was Malcolm X's approach?
Malcolm X advocated for Black empowerment and self-defense, and was more skeptical about integration with white society.
Did they ever reconcile their differences?
They came to respect each other more toward the end of Malcolm X's life. Both were evolving in their thinking.
It sounds like the civil rights movement had diverse voices and strategies.
It did. That's important to remember. It wasn't just one person or one approach. There were many leaders and many strategies working together.
But Dr. King became the most visible and celebrated.
Yes, partly because his message of love and nonviolence was less threatening to white America.
That's an interesting point. His approach made it easier for people to support the movement.
In some ways, yes, though it's worth noting that he was very unpopular in his time. Polls show that many Americans disapproved of him.
Really? But he's so revered now.
That's revisionist history at work. We've sanitized his legacy and forgotten how radical and controversial he was.
How was he radical?
He challenged fundamental structures of American society, not just segregation, but capitalism, militarism, and systemic inequality.
So he wasn't just asking for reform, but transformation.
Exactly. Real revolution of values, as he called it.
This conversation has given me so much to think about.
Me too. Dr. King's life and work are endlessly relevant.
Well, let's do our vocabulary review to help everyone remember the important terms we use today.
Let's review 10 useful words and phrases for discussing civil rights, social movements, and historical figures.
Number 1, legacy. This noun means something handed down from the past, especially the lasting impact or influence of a person or event. Dr. King's legacy refers to his enduring influence.
Number 2, resonate. This verb means to evoke emotions or have special meaning. His words still resonate today, means they continue to be meaningful and relevant.
Number 3, orator. This noun means a skilled public speaker. Someone who's an excellent orator can move audiences with their speeches.
Number 4, nonviolent resistance. This phrase describes the practice of achieving goals through peaceful protest and civil disobedience rather than violence. Gandhi and Dr. King famously used the strategy.
Number 5, segregation. This noun means the separation of people based on race, religion, or other factors. Racial segregation in the South meant black and white people used separate facilities.
Number 6, disenfranchisement. This noun means being deprived of rights, especially the right to vote. Voter disenfranchisement was a major civil rights issue.
Number 7, landmark. This adjective describes something highly significant that marks a turning point. Landmark legislation means extremely important, groundbreaking laws.
Number 8, holistic. This adjective means considering the whole rather than just parts. A holistic approach to justice addresses interconnected issues, not just isolated problems.
Number 9, civil disobedience. This phrase means the refusal to obey certain laws as peaceful protest. Breaking unjust laws intentionally to highlight their injustice is civil disobedience.
Number 10, systemic. This adjective means relating to or affecting an entire system. Systemic racism means racism embedded throughout institutions and society, not just individual prejudice.
Those are 10 essential expressions for discussing civil rights, social justice, and Dr. King's movement.
So, everyone, we've had such an important and meaningful conversation about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today.
I hope this showed you how to discuss historical figures and social movements thoughtfully in English.
Now it's your turn to reflect. We have a question for you.
Here's our question. What does Dr. King's message mean to you? Or how do you think his ideas apply to challenges we face today? Share in the comments.
For example, his message inspires me to speak up against injustice, or I think his ideas about nonviolence are still relevant for protests today.
We read every comment, and we love hearing diverse perspectives from our global community.
Don't forget to hit that like button if this conversation made you think or helped you learn important vocabulary.
And please subscribe to Unreal English and turn on notifications. We discuss meaningful topics like this regularly.
Share this video with friends who are learning English or who are interested in history and civil rights. These conversations matter.
Remember, learning about history helps us understand the present and shape the future.
Dr. King's life reminds us that ordinary people can create extraordinary change through courage and commitment.
Keep learning, keep thinking critically, and as Dr. King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. And remember, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.